All right, folks, welcome back. Joining us right now, I'm very happy to say, making his return to the Steve Malzberg Show, Lanny Davis, former White House Special Counsel to President Clinton and Executive Vice President of Levick. Hello, sir.
Nice to be back, Steve, and I want you to know from this point on, let's stay on with each other, and I'm glad to be back.
It's a new year for us Jews, right?
Happy New Year,
and welcome back. Glad to have you. All right, let me ask you, Ed Klein, last week wrote a piece that a legal advisor, one of Hillary's oldest and most trusted legal advisors, has urged her to hire a criminal defense attorney. Been a Clinton confidant for more than 30 years. Is that you?
No, and by the way, was that person named by Ed?
Not that I know of.
So when an anonymous source is quoted, you always have to ask, why is that person anonymous and why won't Ed name the source? So let me just say, I doubt that that ever happened.
Okay, so it was a fair question to ask if it was you, because you're a confidant of Hillary. I think that's a fair thing to say. Do you believe?
Definitely not me.
Do you believe she should be lawyering up?
No, in fact, the New York Times already retracted. I think Ed is 6 months behind in the headlines. The New York Times retracted the story that she was under a criminal referral and retracted publicly. So Ed probably hasn't read the New York Times in a while.
All right, but whether or not she's under a criminal referral, the fact of the matter is, we're finding out more and more every day. The State Department was just visited by the FBI, and more servers or whatever were taken out of the State Department. And now we find out that Sid Blumenthal, according to the Benghazi committee, Sid Blumenthal put sensitive information, outed, if you will, or named a CIA operative or a former CIA operative, again, on this unprotected private email of Hillary, which you would think would be classified information. Now, if she has sworn that there was no classified information, it gets to a very thin line here, no?
It's not a thin line, because every single thing you just said, with all due respect, were speculative. There's not a single fact in what you said. You speculated maybe this, maybe that. So let's say what we know. We know that Sid Blumenthal asked for his deposition to be published completely, transparently, by Trey Gowdy. Trey Gowdy denied that. We know that he was deposed for 6 to 8 hours, and the words Benghazi came up a few times in 6 to 8 hours. So that's what we know. Therefore, my conclusion from what we know is what Kevin McCarthy said. The Trey Gowdy committee has done a lot to bring Hillary Clinton's numbers down, but 2 Republican committees investigated, 2 of them, the Armed Services Committee and the Intelligence Committee, investigated Benghazi thoroughly and found no wrongdoing.
I'm not looking to get technical into technical argument with an attorney, certainly. But we know what we know, and Hillary knows what she knows. So unless if there is an email where Sid Blumenthal sent information to her regarding the name of a CIA operative and other sensitive information, then shouldn't Hillary be prepared to have a lawyer in case that does become a criminal factor or a case?
So you ask a hypothetical.
Yeah, a hypothetical.
And the hypothetical.
If I was under investigation of any kind, if the FBI was looking at my emails, I might have a criminal defense attorney.
The answer is, if there were men on Mars, you and I would be saying,
no,
oh my God.
No.
Your hypothetical is absurd because it's not based upon fact. So therefore, I can't answer.
Okay, all right. The debates are coming up tomorrow on CNN. What do you expect? I mean, what does Hillary have to do? I know she's been on the Tonight, Saturday Night Live and these shows, but her trustworthiness, likability, believability, you will admit the polls show it's bad.
Well, 70% or more Democrats find her trustworthy, likable, and approve of her. So the unlikability is coming from non-Democrats. As we get into the debates, to answer your question, she will do very well articulating issues, not having to deal with the personality attacks that are constantly being made in the media about her. She will be able to now be unfiltered, and I predict she'll do very well.
How do you explain the rise of Bernie Sanders, the popularity, and how is he considered, I know he's a socialist, an admitted socialist, but how is he considered an outsider when he has served in the Senate for all these years?
I have a great deal of respect. I've always said this about Bernie Sanders. Sometimes you can use words loosely and not mean them, and I guess I've been guilty of that, but Bernie Sanders is a truly great senator, and he's not a literal socialist. He believes in private property. He does believe in a bigger role for government. So I think Bernie Sanders needs to be taken seriously.
All right, and on the Republican side, again, you got the top candidates, Trump, Carson, and Fiorina, well over 50% of the Republican vote, along with Sanders' rise. What does that say about about the state of the American psyche right now.
So I'm sorry to say, Steve, this has got to be my last question.
Yes, yes.
I love talking about Republicans, and I'm looking at them attacking each other. It's fun for us Democrats. I just think you have to keep in mind the percentage of a percentage. So if 30 or 35% of the Republicans say they like Donald Trump, that's 30% of 30%, because there's 30% of the country identify themselves as Republicans. So that's 9%. It's not a big segment of the general electorate. It's a big segment of the Republican electorate.
Okay, fair enough. I don't want you to see the clock. We set it at 5 minutes, so we kept true to our word. Lanny Davis, great to see you. Thank you very much. All right, folks, we're coming back with much more of the Steve Malzberg Show right here on Newsmax Television. Do not touch that dial.